This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, welcome everybody. I really appreciate you all coming in today. We have a really, I think, a really great introductory workshop that will give all of you who are just getting started in this process a good understanding of the business model canvas, of the lean methodology. And this workshop, I think, is particularly going to be useful and relevant because the person who's actually giving the workshop and talking today is Lisa. She's one of your colleagues in the cohort going through the Gazelle Path this semester, and she just recently went through this entire process of going through building a lean model canvas, going through the lean methodology to test her assumptions through the ZIP LaunchPad over at SDSU. And then she recently pivoted her idea and is going through again. And the beautiful thing about the business model canvas is the more times that you go through this process and practice, the easier it gets and the better that you'll do. So she will give us today a great, I think, introductory sort of high-level overview of all of the different steps of the process. And then as we move forward, we will have smaller. We're going to break it down into segments, and we'll go into a lot more detail into each of the different phases, starting with the customer interviews and the problem, testing for the problem. So this workshop, again, it's going to be very high level. When we come back again, we'll talk also about some specifics about doing things like problem interviews in this new world of coronavirus when we can't meet face-to-face, and some solutions. I've been talking to different entrepreneurs about how they've been dealing with that. So with that, I would like to introduce you to our guest speaker today, which is Lisa Michelle Schloss, who will tell you all about the business model canvas and give you an overview, and then afterwards we'll do some questions. So are you there with me, Lisa?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay,
So
awesome, perfect.
Hi guys.
Oh, perfect. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining with us today. So to give you a little more background, I have been doing brand strategy for the last 3 years. I will be helping each of you in regards to forming some of the strategy of how you guys will create your messages and your tone towards the customers. But for now, we kind of want to take a step back and show you guys what the business canvas model entails, because it will really help build you guys up for when we start diving into that. So the business canvas model is a strategic management tool to quickly and easily define and communicate a business idea or concept. So basically what this is a one-page document, you can see it right here, which works through the fundamental elements of a business or product, structuring an idea in a cohort way. If you can tell right here, I have the right side is really focused on the customer segment, and your left side is really focused internally on the business. So for today, what we really want to mainly dive into is this right side. So this is where we're going to be going over your value proposition, your customer relationships, your channel, your customer segments, and your revenue streams. So diving into that, so why do we use it? Basically, why we use the business canvas model is to quickly draw a picture of what the idea entails. It allows us to get an understanding of our businesses and to go through the process of making connections between what our idea is and how to make it into a business. It takes a deeper dive into what influences customers' decisions and also helps us to define what our business entails. And if anybody needs me to slow down or kind of go back, I'm going to run through this fairly quick so that way we have room for questions and anybody who really wants to dive into where they're at right now. So what we're going to dive into now is defining your value and defining your customers. So the what, why, where, when, and who. So for your value proposition, it's basically the foundation to your business and product. It is the fundamental concept of the exchange of value between your business and your customer and clients. The questions that you really want to focus into when you're defining your value prop is, what is the problem I'm solving? Why would someone want to have this problem solved? And what is the underlying motivator of this problem?
Just so you know, we do have a couple people just asking if you can go a little slower, just a little
Yeah,
slower.
no problem.
Great, thanks.
All right, so I'll take you guys back. So again, so the value proposition is basically where you want to focus on the exchange of value between your business to your customer. So this is where we want to figure out what is the problem that we're solving, why would someone want to have this problem, and what is the underlying motivator to this problem. And this is really going to help later on when we do your brand strategy. This is going to help us know the narrative and the story that we're telling to your customers, and that way we can really connect with them. So diving into that, a tip for the value prop is a good way to approach this for your user customer is by looking at your customer segments and figuring out where your product service solves the problem for your customer based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if you really look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and study it, right, there's a lot of different elements that you could be diving into in regards to sustainability, or maybe even a need for people to feel belonging. And so you want to kind of connect with what is it that you're solving for your customer. Now, the one thing I want to emphasize here, especially for when I was going through the different programs, is that a lot of people see problem validation. They think problem, just a problem. And the thing is you don't have to feel like you're just solving a problem. This could be a need or a want. It could be something that customers are just really into right now, people are really wanting to have. But even with that, there's usually still something you're solving or some sort of need that you're fulfilling. Maybe everybody else has it. Maybe there's a trend towards it. So this is what you want to start to dive into in your customer segments. So within your customer segments, segmenting, this is the practice of dividing a customer base into groups of individuals that are similar in specific areas. So this could be similarities among age, gender, interest, or spending habits. This is where you're also going to be able to gauge and understand your market size. So some of the questions that you want to be answering within the customer segment is, who are we solving the problem for? Who are the people that will value your value proposition? And what are the characteristics of the people who are looking for your value proposition? And when we start to dive into having you guys, some of you that are not as ahead and need to do those problem validation testing, you'll see that there would be a lot of times where you need to pivot, right? So right now you might start with students because that's what you have the biggest network to. So you'll start asking students questions about what you're trying to solve. But then you'll find, oh wait, students aren't the ones that have the buying or the purchasing power here. It's the parents, or it's millennials or Generation X. So that's where you want to start to define, okay, who is the people that, one, are interested in this, but also who are able to use it and are also able to buy it. So this is where now, to be able to get a validation within your value proposition and within your customer segments, you want to do your testing within the problem. So first, what you want to do is you want to form a script. What you want to do here is present 3 problems. You want to say you're solving A, B, C, and you want to ask your customers which problem they resonate with, right? So that way you can kind of break down and leave it open to, there might be a different direction. Maybe you have a solution for a product, but it actually will solve an entirely different problem. So that's where you want to leave it open, and you want to ask them which one they resonate with the most, why they resonate with it. And then also, like, you want to ask them what kind of feeling they have towards it. So if you're doing something related to sustainability, and you want to ask questions like that, and you want to solve a problem within that, you might just generally want to ask them, have you ever done a sustainable event or anything like beach cleanup? How did it make you feel? Why were you there? How did you find it? And really just ask a lot of why, so that you can get and break down into discovering where's the problem lie, where's the need lie. So from there, then you want to do your interviews. Now this involves you looking into, who are you interviewing, where and how. And this goes back to what I was saying. So at first, your network involves students, but you might start to find as you're going along that students aren't your ideal customer or the one that will be purchasing this. It's, the parents, or it's older people, or it might be younger people. So that's where you want to go and make changes to your interview process and start to revise it. But don't get stuck. A lot of people I was like this a lot as an analytical person. I would get stuck on interviews doing more and more and more, but you really don't need a lot. You know, if you go to present in a lead model competition, you go to present to an investor, you know, they're not expecting you have thousands and thousands of data. They just want to see those first 100 customers that said, yes, I have this problem. So from there, what you want to do is you want to take the qualitative data that you have and quantify those records and find trends within your data. And the reason why you want to set up a script is not because you're going to sit there and follow through it. You know, nobody wants to have a conversation with someone through a script, but because you want to have at least some question points so that you can easily quantify that data. What I highly recommend is what I always like to do is create a survey on Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey. And for my in-person or now Zoom interviews, what I do is I input my answers that they're saying in the survey so that way I automatically already have something that can quantify it for me. So going from there, once you're able to validate your customer persona, who is this person that's having this issue or this need, you really want to find your relationship with the customer. So what you want to construct from here is a user journey map. With a user journey map, what this does is it helps you clarify the points of engagement. It helps you establish modes used to relate to your customers, define the operations. So what are the functionalities that you're using? What are the different types of functionalities that you might be providing? Because what you really want to get to is your MVP, which is your minimal viable product. And this will be the main, simplest function that you're first giving to your customer that you're selling to them. And you want to identify opportunities for channel and development. And so it's really important that you start to construct this user journey or this user story so that you're able to take your solution, map out exactly how it would work. So my customer A walks into a store, they realize they can't get this from the store. They go on to an application. Through the application, they use XYZ functionality to be able to get to XYZ. So you want to have a step-by-step process. And when you're doing that, you want to kind of figure out what are the channels that your customer is previously using. So that kind of ties into the problem validation work you did, right? So you should be asking, where are your customers? What are they using now to solve the issue that they have? Are they using social media? Are they at events? Do they watch the TV? Are they listening to the radio? So what is helping them find whatever they're using right now to solve that problem? Or where are they leaning towards to solve that problem? Maybe there really is no solution for it right now, but they're searching for it. You know, they're going onto social media or they're searching on Google. So this is the things that you want to define so that that way you can start to set up what sort of outlets you'll use for your customer. So from there, you'll want to construct your solution testing. And that's kind of what our whole focus is right now for a lot of the teams in the REC is that problem to solution testing. So the first step is, again, constructing that demo. And you don't necessarily have to have a website demo or even an application demo. You could even just construct imagery, you know, a flyer, or it could be verbiage of you just starting with a few people kind of explaining it. You know, it takes time to be able to get those things to happen. So don't feel stressed out if you don't have that now. That's totally okay. It's really easy to put together different images to show people and get them to kind of understand the flow of how your solution works. So from there, you want to construct a script again that will basically walk them through the process of using it as if they're the user themselves. And what you want to do there is you want to pause during each moment of the process and say, okay, how does this element make you feel? What do you think? You know, how is this resonating with you? And in our lean model textbook that we have, or book that we have, me and Tanya can create a link for you guys because there is a chapter 8 that actually gives you a step-by-step script process for you guys to be able to use to construct this. And I know Tanya will be going more in depth into those as well. And then what you want to do is do your interviews and do your iterations. So you're not just going to take this first demo, do your 25 interviews, and you know, that's it, you got your confirmation. What you're going to do is, they always like to say that the minimum of what you want to get is about 5 interviews to 5 iterations. So that's 25 interviews total and 5 iterations. And you want to go take it to your customers, see what they like, see what they didn't like, take it back to, you know, the drawing board or your designer, whoever's creating it. make those small implications, those small iterations or pivots, and then go back again to more of those customers that had that problem. So from here, you've been able to really establish your customer segment, your value prop, the relationships that you're building with your customer and your channels. But now you kind of want to dive into, okay, I'm starting to validate all this stuff. What is my revenue stream going to look like? So I kind of just put up a few examples of some of the top revenue streams that we find a lot in the incubator program. So one of them is paying per product, or paying per view. So paying for the product that you're getting, fees for service, fixed rates, subscription models, dividends and referral fees, freemium ads. So these are a lot of the popular revenue streams that we see. And what you really want to be able to do here is get ready to do your intent to buy. So this comes after your problem solution testing. This will be your intent to buy. And you now know that your customer likes it, but you want to know, will they buy it? So the first thing you want to do is define your price. So you want to evaluate competitors and evaluate costs to really formulate what sort of pricing strategy should you have for your customer. What are they paying currently? And this can go back to questions you can include in your solution testing, and also questions that you can do for your secondary research, right? So what are your competitors pricing at? And you can always go in depth. It's really up to you guys how in depth with your interviews you want to get information from your customers, right? You know, are they having a problem with this? Are they having, you might have a company that's doing a subscription model, but they're failing because they're using that model. People would rather pay instantly for something. So this is where you want to try to figure out, create a point of price for yourself, and then create an offering. So it could be a website, a demo, a flyer. You know, it doesn't have to be to get an intent to buy. You don't have to make it crazy fancy. You could have a flyer that you go up to a customer, or I guess now Zoom, but you go to a customer and you say, I have, you know, this great program that's offering X, Y, Z, and this is how much it's cost, you know, this is what you're really getting out of it, and just see if they go, okay, yeah, I'm ready, you know, I'm ready to click that button, I'm ready to pay. They pull out the money and they're ready. Or you could even do a website, a smoke test, which basically would be constructing a website, having that purchase button ready, and seeing how many clicks you get on it. And then it leads them to a page where it just says out of stock, or sorry, we're actually not selling yet, but we will let you know when we will. And right there, you're already inquiring future customers. And so you really just want to find out what is their willingness to pay. And this might involve, you know, doing different model tests. So, you know, you could be paying a fixed, or you could be testing a fixed rate versus a subscription model. And so these are the types of things that you want to consider for your business. So diving into that, we're going to go over just very briefly the left area, which is the internal part of the business. This is, some of you guys have been doing all of this. Some of you might be jumping into this part now. But again, I'm just going to kind of cruise through that because this is going to be the main focus for many of you. So for cost structure, this is where you really want to dive into focusing on the cost of your business. So what is it going to cost for you to achieve the value prop and for you to reach the customer segment that you need to provide that value proposition to? And also, what are your operational fees? What are your legal and insurance fees? What kind of opportunity costs will you have from your resources, the activities you need to gain those users, or the partnerships that you will have as well? And this is a huge thing that a lot of people will kind of skip over. They'll build their whole model, they'll have their revenue, and then they start talking to people right away. And further along the line, you guys will learn how to make a pro forma, which is going to be a 3 to 5 year map out of the cost and revenue and profit of your business. And so that's, I wouldn't worry too much about it now, because that'll be something that you guys will be provided with to learn about. So from here, key activities, these are basically the actions that your business undertakes to achieve the value proposition for your customers. So this could be consulting, you know, designing, web development. Maybe you're an application, so a lot of the activity goes into software development. And these are really important to note down for yourself to know what it's going to involve to reach the customer. Key resources are going to be your practical resources needed to achieve the key activities, actions of the business. These could be, you know, just an office space or computers. It could be hosting. So I know a lot of people are planning on having websites up. So that is involved with that, right? If you're using Squarespace, if you're having a developer that makes their own. down to electricity, car, oven, you know, whatever it is that you're going to need to provide those activities for the business. And then last but not least, you have your key partners. So these are going to be the external factors, the company, suppliers, you know, additional parties that you need to achieve your key activities and deliver value to the customer. So I put an example here, but if I sell groceries to customers, I may need a local baker to supply fresh bread to my store. So that's a partnership right there. And these are the types of things that you want to be able to include even before you're really reaching out to them. You know, just make a list of who do I think I'm going to need to involve in this? Who is an ideal partnership? It could even have to do with marketing and promotion. So these are things that you'll also be validating in your business canvas model. So I decided to include an example here. This is Airbnb. So basically for Airbnb, with their value proposition for the hosts, they really wanted to allow people the opportunity to focus on the gig economy and develop an easy income for them as they work, created ease of transactions for them, and allow them to meet new people. For guests, they really want to provide a way for them to have lower costs than the general hotels, an easier transaction, also an authentic local experience. So they have the whole promotion of, you know, live with a local and you'll get to feel like a local. So that's the value proposition they wanted to focus on providing. And for those of you that don't know the story of Airbnb, you know, they were in San Francisco. It was two guys and they were roommates. And so they just decided to actually list, I mean, they went a little further and did their intent to buy in real time. So they went and just posted something on Craigslist during an event that was happening in San Francisco where hotels were getting, you know, overbooked and booked months before. And so they just posted, hey, you know, we have this room with, you know, a bed, a single bed for you to rent out. And they got so many hits on it. And so they really found a way to dive in and develop how they could create an offering for their customer. And from there, they just broke down the customer segment. They're a two-sided market. Some of you might be. And so they had to develop customer segments for both their guests and their hosts as well, and develop the relationships they had, the channels they'd be using, right? So social media, that was blowing up at the time, especially. So that was an important factor. Word of mouth, that content marketing, and engaging through emails and other app pages. You know, they developed their revenue, which has still changed over time, and that happens a lot. So commission prices were changing as they added events into it. You know, they decided who they were going to charge commission to. Would it be the host, and then zero for the guests? And then from there, they focused on developing their cost structure, right? So a lot of that had to do with development, insurance, liability. That was a big thing for them. And then from there, they had their key partners. You know, at first it was mainly a lot of the photographers and videographers that they used to be able to display and use imagery to get people to want to stay at these places. It was a lot of business travel partners, a lot of integration within the application. And they also, you know, broke down the key activities they had. So removing friction from transactions and scaling beyond critical mass and engaging with the participants. And then key resources was basically focused into their network and the listings that they used and the brand and the application. And so this is a lot, and you guys are welcome to kind of take a picture of it. I highly recommend looking up other examples of business model canvases as well. When you look at the big picture of it, it's pretty easy to kind of break down, but it does take a lot of little steps to get there. So don't feel discouraged. Sometimes you just have to go back. I know, as Tanya said, in my pivot, I've had to scale back and completely just go back to the solution testing that I did almost 8 months ago now. So it takes time, and sometimes you can, you know, get that intent to buy. I highly recommend just really going out there and developing something to see, do these customers need it? Do they want it? That's the most important thing. And so, yeah, I'm going to open it up now. I'm going to stop sharing and just open up to questions from you guys.
Oh, sorry about that. I just realized I was muted as well. So thank you so much for that. That was a wonderful overview of the business model canvas. And I saw that there were a couple of people asking questions in the chat features. So we'll start by just letting everybody know that we will post the video recording in Slack. It'll be in the videos channel, so you can access that again later and come back and see this again. And then now I'll stop talking and see if you had any questions for Lisa. So,
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So, Karen, this is Karen.
Okay.
Hi, Lisa. So in the beginning of the profile, I know it was saying business process. So I just want to clarify. So basically the business model canvas transfers to, I didn't quite read what it said. Is that basically what's giving you the opportunity to test different processes? Did I read that right?
Yeah, so I think you're talking about, let me look back.
It was like the first or second slide.
Yeah, so it's really about creating the tools so that you can take action. That's what I had on it.
Gotcha.
So, you know, the business canvas model, it really instructs if you can fill in all those gaps of all those different areas, you will be able to establish the exact process of how your business is going to work. And it makes it a lot easier too when you construct, you know, your business plan, your marketing plan. If you can tell from when I was talking about different segments, that is involved in that. So when you're making an executive summary and you're interested in having investors a part of what you're looking to have them provide money for, you're going to want to show them something that has, here's the revenue streams that we're showing you, here's the key partners that we have involved. So all of it applies into the business process. And like I said before, if you pivot or if something goes wrong and you got to reevaluate, this really helps you to have something to look back on and say, okay, it's totally fine. This is where I'm going to take it now. These are the questions I'm going to ask.
Right. And with that being said, I know you were saying you've been doing this for a couple of years. Do you by chance know anything off the top of your head? Do you have any good book recommendations that will maybe just kind of elaborate more on the business process and that?
Yeah, so the lean model book, which is
You read that Lean Startup is the one, yeah, that Lean the Eric
I'm
Ries.
halfway done with it.
Okay, that's definitely the go-to book that we need to read. And I know we have Ryan who wanted to add something here in just a moment. But I will say also, Karen, what might be helpful is we started this process in the classes together. We did a truncated version of a business model canvas. We did, if you remember, together. Yeah. You didn't have all the channels, but it had the sort of beginning channels that we were looking at. So it's the same sort of thing. It's a one-page representation of the business, right? So
I want to add to that though. I do have another book that kind of relates really in-depthly with kind of how the lean model works and also the testing as well. And that's called Talking to Humans. And it's by GIF, it should be GIFF Constable, CONSTABLE. And that really helps with the understanding of the customer. So remember how I said with the model, there was the right side which focused on the customer and there was the left side that was more business internal. So this book helps you a lot with that right side and defining and understanding the customer. So I think if I was to say 2 books, it would be the lean model like we talked about, but also now that you're halfway through, starting on Talking to Humans would be a really good one for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And so Ryan Vancher is here in our meeting. Welcome, Ryan. So happy to have you. You're on mute, just so you know. And he offered to maybe share his very first business canvas from Korsky. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
Yeah, so can everybody hear me and see my screen okay? I just hit the presentation thing, so I don't know if that worked or not.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Yeah, so I know sometimes like we are also kind of big advocates of the business model canvas since that's what we were taught in the Zahn Center. And kind of sitting through the presentation, I kind of really like the idea that it's something that you kind of throw up, test, see if it works, and then go back to the drawing board. And I was actually talking, because I was thinking about doing a workshop on this, and so I'm glad to see that it was already done. And I was asking my CEO, do you have any of our old like business model canvases that I could share? And he gave me these. And so our company is Korsky, and we do like attendance software and engagements via apps for college classes. And when we first started, this on the left was our very first business model canvas. And so you can see that it doesn't have to be very technical. It just really needs to be more of like a brainstorming session. And for us, the left side was what we came up with first. So it was literally like who is our customer segment? It's a large lecture class, like literally who's the first instructor who would use us? It's this guy. So back then we had one customer and that was our only segment, right? And then as you see, as we started to learn and test, different things started to change, and it's like a living document. You're just kind of continuously going back, testing these different, interconnected pieces of your business, and then seeing what works and what doesn't based on, the feedback you get while you do this. And so I just wanted to kind of throw this up there so that you guys can see it doesn't have to start to be, what does a $500 million company look like on a business model canvas. It can be as easy as like, what does it look like to get to our first milestone? And then you just redraft your boards, every time you hit that milestone to reevaluate where you're at. So I can share these in the Slack channel if anybody wants to take a look at them. But if you've experienced our platform or heard about us or know what we do, this is literally as basic as it got when we got started to, going from this, business model canvas to the kind of the company we are today. And we still use this exercise constantly to reevaluate what our business is doing. Matter of fact, with this new COVID-19 thing, all of our clients stopped teaching on ground and they went to do lectures just like this. And so our team had to do a business model canvas workshop to see what does this do to impact our business model. And in the last 3 weeks, we've switched from an on-ground platform to a live online platform. And we've completely pivoted our business as we're a $20 million company, and it takes a lot to turn that ship if you're not used to using this type of exercise to constantly reevaluate your business and keep making changes as you learn. So I just thought it was a great opportunity to kind of show these, and I'll upload this in the chat where the invitation is inside the rec center.
Thank you so much for doing that, Ryan. I really appreciate that. And I love how you really underscored that this is a living document. This is not something that you make and you present and we're done. This is something that goes on forever.
I mean, you can see the customer segment significantly changed as we did more research, right? We started looking at Cal States, then we looked at higher ed, we looked global. So we went from, what is our first objective to get alpha, version into the market. And then once that was done, we had to reevaluate and kind of think a little bit bigger, right? What does it do if we wanted to put 7,200 students on the platform versus 400, right? And then that impacts our cost structure. All that stuff starts to change. So it's just a really good tool for you guys to all get used to using. And there's no right way to do it other than just kind of following the methodology that book prescribes. There is no like right or wrong answer to it. It's just as quickly as you can throw information and test it, it is as right as you are during that process.
So I see here, there was a question from Ji-hoon that asked if there are other templates that we can use, different styles. Yes, there are different styles of templates. There are other, styles you could use, but I wouldn't say you would want to use necessarily a different overall process. Do you want to jump in there, Ryan, or do you want to add anything, Ryan or Lisa?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I would say for different styles, it's really, the lean model is meant to give you something so that you can set up a quicker process, like how we define the Gazelle Path, right? So that's supposed to be an intensive program that's meant to build up, do your testing, and get you more prepared for launch, especially as, technology is so far developed too. You see businesses launching like that and going out there. So you don't want to take too long as it used to have to be before, and you have so much data available to you. So I would really say, if you look into it, there's going to be different suggestions on what people say to go through, but all of these aspects are still the basis. The business canvas model, all of that entails, is still the foundation of what you're going to have to answer and find out anyways. You can't, as much as we'd all like to create a product or solution and be like, okay, here you go, like, let's put it out there, let's sell it. We'll buy it, but that doesn't mean that everybody else will. And so establishing all this, and also the same involves an investor. You can go, hey, look at, I sold 100, but if they look and they see, well, you don't know what you want to spend your money on, you don't know what you've been doing. There's so many different elements. So this is something I would highly recommend sticking with, to look at and be like, okay, this is the process. These are the different steps I need to take to get to my end result.
Lisa, I was also going to add, this is Jeff, by the way.
Jeff.
Another really cool tool that we use sometimes is aha.io. I'll put in chat box. It's actually like So you use the lean model canvas, but it's a really good tool to help you like visualize and change things really quickly. If anyone wants to check it out, a 30-day free trial, pretty cool.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Jeff. There are many different styles or iterations or spin-offs of the business model canvas. But really, I've been 10 years teaching entrepreneurship, and this is the best approach that I've seen that will get you to a high growth company the fastest. Before this methodology was there was a lot of guesswork. Entrepreneurs really had one of two options. They could either spend just so long, years developing their idea, testing their idea, without really any playbook to test it by, and then they could launch. And usually after never having even talked to potential customers, or they could just kind of guess and throw it out there and just see what sticks. And neither of those approaches were really great. So this approach is a very systematic way to ensure that you are creating a company that will actually work, that people want, that you're solving a real problem for them, right? So I think it's a great tool.
Does anybody have any questions pertaining to, especially since we kind of got through that pretty fast, does anybody have any current questions pertaining to like what they're doing right now, like specifically with their business, like quick questions?
So if we don't have any specific questions right there, I do want to share with you all, here, let me move this out of the way. I want to share with you all the form that, okay, so here, there is, this is the phase that, or the form that shows the phases of the lean methodology that we are going through together. Well, not together, probably somewhat together, somewhat individually, through the REC, through the Gazelle Path. And so essentially today, what Lisa was talking about was this entire process from idea, way up here, all the way down to where you have created an MVP and are testing in the actual market. And so some of the workshops that we'll be doing after this will be how we'll get a lot deeper into how to actually start in that customer discovery process, and how to validate your assumptions, how to find out if what you think will work is what customers actually want. The problem that you're having is a problem that they're having, right? And we'll help you to identify who those early adopters are, those people who are the first ones who are experiencing the problem right now and actively out there looking for solutions. So I just wanted to share this so that you know that we're going to go into a lot more detail about the actual, the process itself, the steps itself. I see on the chat here, somebody had a question. Oh, another great book from Lisa. Any other questions from the entrepreneurs? Okay. Anything that either Ryan or Lisa you wanted to add about the process, or?
I actually did a workshop yesterday with the team, kind of in like a mentor session like this. I think, you know, they're in the rec center. They're doing the student, it's kind of like rate my program.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad
I'm not sure if they're on, but we did something like this yesterday, just kind of in a one-on-one mentor session. And one of the things that I wanted to stress to them was kind of like really focusing on the value proposition to start. And then, you know, somebody had asked, is there different like versions of it? And it can look different ways that, you know, kind of, we would call it UI, but the underlying methodology should always be the same, because a lot of those pieces are interconnected. When we learned the Canvas, there was actually a competition. So some of you guys who have companies that are student companies, there's something called the International Business Model Competition. And it's entirely based on this specific exercise and how well you can present your pivots and your iterations of your business model canvas to the judges. And there was like 3,000 companies across the globe, all student, you know, led companies. And we represented San Diego State in place number 6. out of, kind of like the 3,000. And that was really kind of attributed to, Alex Zenoble and some of the Lavin programs and what they emphasize, but also what they're teaching you in the Zahn Center. And so this could be an opportunity for some of you guys, if you're further along and want to compete for money. If you can master this, you can go out and sign up for that competition. It's usually in Utah at Brigham Young University, but there might be opportunities for you guys to get sponsored by the schools, or maybe we can look at maybe fundraising or something for one of the teams that wants to compete. But this isn't just, a lot of the stuff that you'll find in books is theory. This is something that's actually very practical. And if you guys really learn it and understand it and take it serious, it's not only a tool that you can win money on, it's a tool that you can build a business with, and keep building it over time. So how you like to approach it is up to you, but just make sure you spend some time really understanding the methodology behind it, so that you can, I always say better a blueprint than a well-built house, right? We could teach you how to build a business model canvas and do it for you, but if you know how to do it over and over again, you guys are going to be much more successful if you really take the time to learn this. So this was a great workshop. That's all I wanted to add.
Thank you for adding that. And just to kind of elaborate a little bit on what you were saying about the competitions, we do have the opportunity here to compete in actually several competitions, but namely we are at the end of this semester going to be having our own pitch competition, where we have judges from San Diego Angel Conference, from SDSU, from the ZIP program, from the Lavin program, and we already have some prizes. The winners of that will be going on to the San Diego Angel Conference next year in the 2021 round. So there's, and you, those of you who came to that saw there's a lot of, there's some possibilities to raise a lot of money, to do big things. And then we also at SDSU, when we have that competition, the judges at SDSU will also be picking some teams that they want to bring over into their program, or they'll make that offer at that time. So there's a lot of different opportunities there. And then external competitions, if you can get into the competitions, we'll find ways to pay for you. We're already working on some fundraising, and we'll make sure that you get the support and can actually go there and win the money. And there's a lot of money to be made. So that one. All right, Lisa, did you want to add anything?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I fully agree with what both of you are saying. To go off of what Ryan was saying, I actually recently was in the competition for what he's talking about. And although I made it as a simultaneous and I didn't win, I do have to say, being part of it and being able to demonstrate the whole process, it really takes a step back to yourself as a motivator to be like, wow, I did that. I went through all this different research, all these different testing. I built this demo. It's really an amazing experience, and don't let it deter you. When you don't win something, or somebody doesn't understand, it's totally okay. I mean, you're gonna have that. I had that. I actually mentioned my pivot in it like 2 weeks before the competition, and I ended up having a judge that was like, I don't like the pivot at all. Don't understand it. I like, the original business. I ended up having a phone call with him, and because I was able to now give him more research about our pivot, he was on board to give me 2 partnerships with founders that he knew for our new segment that we're in. So that can, but he even told me when he was judging it, he came from the perspective of, as a customer, he resonated so deeply with what it was before. And you're going to have that, maybe your competitor is Airbnb, but the person you're pitching to, they resonate with that. So don't ever let it deter you. Just stay focused. Your customer, they are your king, they're the one with that power. So just really focus on how they feel about it and what they think.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you so much. So I will, before we leave, we'll make sure there's no questions from the audience. Okay, so then I think we'll go ahead and end it there. I will encourage all of you to reach out to me. I think Rochelle sent a request to you earlier today to set up meetings with me, just to check in if you need to speak with me. I also am going to be I've been doing all the interviews with the different teams for your needs assessments, and I'm making all those introductions to the mentors right now. So we'll continue to do that. Reach out to the people that I'm introducing you to. And we're also going to be setting up the teams who are coming in, who want to work with all of you. Lisa's going to be doing a branding interview very soon, and help you develop your branding strategy, and we're going to get your logos made and get all of these things going for you. So that's all on the horizon, coming up very soon. In the meantime, get your LinkedIns looking very good, because now in this new world, we really have to be using LinkedIn. We have to be using Zoom. We have to be comfortable with technology, or we won't have any other way of connecting. Right? And that LinkedIn, I think, is going to be really useful as we, as a team, sort of rely on each other's networks to build our own networks up and to do all of our interviews. So, any other questions before we end this? Yes,
hey Tanya,
thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is Brent.
Hi,
This is
Brennan.
Brennan. Hey.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I've heard the term like challenging or validating assumptions, I think, something like that. And what I'm wondering is, because I'm preparing to write the interviews,
Uh-huh.
is that something I need to include? And then what would be an example of like an assumption, and like how would I challenge that in an interview?
So first of all, have you finished reading the Lean Startup?
No, not yet.
And
But wait,
don't write your, so finish reading that book first. If you're a slow reader, I would recommend getting an audio book of it, because they go over the entire process. And then what we're talking about for validating your assumptions, an assumption is just a guess, right? What you're assuming about your customers, what you're assuming they want, what you're assuming they use to buy, or where they buy their whatever it is that you're selling. Your assumptions, your guesses, and validating them is finding out if you were right about your guesses, or if you were wrong about your guesses. Then you can either pivot or you can perish, right? Those are pretty much the two options. So yeah, does that answer your question? You don't need to use that terminology in the interviews, though. You talk like a regular person.
I can give an example of that, Tanya, if you think it would help.
Yeah, for sure.
So with us, some of our early assumptions were like, we had to find out how much we thought students would be willing to pay, because our first business model required students to buy this as a class tool, like a calculator or a textbook. And we had an assumption that students were not going to pay $100 for something that was like the iClicker, but we thought that they would pay at least what the iClicker costs, or at most what the iClicker costs, or potentially they would want something lower. So what we did was, we created a survey for students, and we needed about a sample size of 300 was what we decided. And we literally walked around San Diego State surveying students and asking them, based on this thing that we described, and the way we measured it was, how many cups of Starbucks would you give up in order to have something like this tool for your class? And it ranged from 1 cup to 2 cups to 3 cups, but we found a price point that was about $25 when measured in cups of Starbucks. So we thought that it would be somewhere between about $20 to $50, and it ended up landing around $30 was what they would pay for all the features that we didn't have yet. So that was one of the ways that we were able to go cheaply. And I think testing assumptions, you want to think, what's the most cost efficient way for us to do this? The other option for us was, let's just build it and try to sell it to them and see if they buy it. And if they don't like it for $50, we make no money, right? So you want to be able to go out early and kind of take some of your guesses and validate those in the most cost effective way for your business. So that you can learn quickly and make changes.
It's the validated learning process. The validated
thank
learning
you.
process.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Such a good example. I like that.
Yeah. It's nice having those real world examples. I think it really helps us to see what they're talking about, right? Yeah. Other questions? That was a great question. Thanks for asking that, Brennan. Other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, please, no. Yeah, take your time.
So considering the pandemic we're going through, would it, like Lisa was saying, would it be acceptable to conduct interviews through Zoom and just plug them in? Like, is that something that people will
It's the only way to do it right now.
It's the only thing you can do.
SurveyMonkey's great. Google Forms is a nice free tool. If you're not using Google Forms, is an awesome tool to send out. Like, we literally at the start, I had a bunch of friends on my Facebook and LinkedIn. So I said, hey, anybody at SDSU, take this survey for me, right? And it was just a Google form that collected all the responses, and Google Forms put out the little graphics and the summary responses and everything we needed for our presentation at the end. So there's really cheap tools that you can use to do this, and they're easy to distribute versus, you know, going person to person with paper like we did. If I was smart, I would have done it the digital way, even though that I had access to walk around the whole campus, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. So regardless, as long as you're collecting
and don't let
data, it's either way is fine.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend doing also in-person Zoom ones as well, additionally to the surveys, because surveys is going to be a great way for you to do, like what Ryan was saying, collecting a lot of that data. I think it's a great way to have that amount of data and say, okay, you know, 250 out of 300 people said that they felt this way about that. But the thing that you get from doing at least, you know, 25 to 50 in-person interviews is that you might have a customer that additionally says something. They might have another point they add in there, and you were like, oh, whoa, I didn't think about that, or I didn't realize that this is actually a problem that they're having. So, you know, I would recommend for problem and for solution. You can just do a lower amount, you know, just do a lower amount of what you can for the Zoom interview chats. And then additionally also send out those surveys like what Ryan's talking about as well to support and back that up, you know.
And
yeah,
I guess
oh, sorry, I was just going to say, thank you so much for adding that, Lisa. I agree 100%. I think that, you know, Ryan did it the right way, but by doing both the digital surveys and the in-person. Here we're just substituting in-person for Zoom, but you need that at least some interaction with real human beings so that you can get to the crux of the problem and aren't you know, they won't tell you in a survey, even because they don't know what they don't know sometimes.
Right.
So Karen,
and what's nice about Zoom is you can record your session too. We can use it either as proof or to go back on and things like that. So that's always nice, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would just kind of add to, you want to, so there's quantitative, right, which is your surveys. You want to be able to measure, you know, kind of the masses, but the qualitative, like they're saying, is just as valuable, if not more, to be perfectly honest with you. So we never surveyed instructors, right? We actually interviewed instructors with an in-depth question. We let them expand on answers. Now, students for us were sort of our end user. It wasn't who we were selling to, right? So we needed to make sure we had to be able to prove to the instructors what the students were saying. So you got to think about, if you're especially if you're in a tech business, there's certain times where either or both is a great strategy to use. Just kind of think about the level of interaction, their decision-making power, and the ability to buy your product. But definitely use both, because surveys are not the same thing as having an in-depth conversation with somebody who is your ideal customer. Do not shortcut that part of the process.
Right. So for me, Professor, I'd probably have to do it both, once with the estheticians and once with the users. And then I know she was saying 25 interviews. If I could do 25 Zoom interviews and then 5 iterations, does that mean basically just like 5 like summaries or similar? Or
so what I would say about that is from on the average basis of study to get what will maximize your best features and really find it, it's recommended that you at least have 5 users that you can go through each time and do 5 iterations so that you can redevelop the demo, add pieces to it. So that's kind of what I was referring to. And that can change. That's not something you have to, you know, live by. That's just one of the highly recommended ways.
Just being able to go back to those same 5 people to see, how do you feel about this now, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Well, yeah, and you want to add, additional new viewers to that as well, so that they're seeing it from a whole different point of view.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Saying completely. That makes a lot of sense.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be those same 5 people. It just needs to be five people that meet that initial target market, those early adopters that meet the criteria of them. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that this is why it is so important, all of us, that we not only develop or build up our LinkedIn pages, but we connect with one another on our LinkedIn pages. And we need a bigger we need bigger networks. We should all have at least 200, 300, 400 people on our LinkedIn that we've made connections with, and then just keep building from there. So start with each other so that we have a good a good number of people to draw from, and then hopefully there'll be enough people in that connection to sort of fill in and be your 5, 10, 15, 25 people.
Other than the lean startup, is there is there any other suggestions in finding good questions that will get you a quality response?
I will be giving a workshop just specifically on writing the questions and what you should say in the interviews and what you shouldn't say in the interviews. I actually have I had a recording, but we're going back to the drawing board because of the coronavirus, and so I wanted to re-record it with the new way we're working. But I'll put that up within a day or two.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I have to hop off now, but thank you guys so much.
Bye, Lisa. I know you need to go. Oh, sorry,
if
we
you guys
couldn't
have
hear.
any questions, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free. I put my LinkedIn there, and I know Ryan is a great point of contact as well. Obviously, Tanya is our mentor and follower person to go to for everything. So I hope that helped you guys out.
Thank you.
It was so helpful. Thank you so much, Lisa. Really appreciate it. And everyone, thank you for coming. Ryan, thank you for always being the #1 mentor for the group and giving us such great advice. And I'll be seeing you all again very soon. On Friday, we have there's another workshop if you're interested at 7 p.m. And thanks for sharing all of this, Ryan. We have all this here. I will put this recording in Slack as soon as we get off here. I'll process it and put it in. So thanks all for being here. Take care. See you all again on Friday, if not sooner.